Upcoming events, if you'd like to train with one of us. Summer 2025, 2 externships, one in Indianapolis, Indiana, July 9th through the 12th. You can visit that at IndyEFT.com or ArkansasEFT.com. Speaking of Arkansas, we have our big externship, our family reunion, Arkansas EFT Center externship, July 29th through August 1st. These are ICEEFT externships. You can visit to learn more, ArkansasEFT.com, find a training. And then we have an extended core skills series coming up in Huntington, West Virginia. Core Skills 1 and 2, August 21st through the 23rd. And then Core Skills 3 and 4 is January 16th and 17th of 2026. You can visit EFTWestVirginia.com/EFT.training.
All right. I have an externship in Bend, Oregon, and that will be October 15th through the 18th. You can find out more about that at counciloregon.com, co-EFT. Then I will be doing a class in Cape Cod called Strengthening Bonds in Couples, Individuals, and Families. This is like a vacation CEU type experience, and that'll be October 4th through the 8th. It's a hybrid. You can be in person out on the Cape, and we'll do classes from like 9 to 12:15 each day. Then you can hang out on the beach, or you can come in hybrid online. Once again, that's October 4th through the 8th. You can find out more at cape.org. /courses. Then I have 2 extended core skills classes. One will be in Houston. That core skills 1 and 2 will be June 12th through the 14th of 2025, and 3 and 4, September 18th through the 20th. Then I'll have an extended core skills in Colorado with Dr. Lisa Palmer-Olsen. That'll be fun. And that will be modules 1 and 2 will be October 8th through the 10th. And modules 3 and 4 will be January 7th through the 9th. And once again, we'll put all the links to these different training events in the show notes. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the Leading Edge in Emotionally Focused Therapy with your hosts, Dr. James Hawkins and Dr. Ryan Rana. EFT is a dynamic model that humbles even the most seasoned therapists. Together, we want to come alongside you as you continually push the leading edge of your understanding and application of this wonderful model developed by Dr. Sue Johnson.
Hey, welcome back. Glad to have you with us. A lot going on in our world today. Coming to you from Northwest Arkansas as always. We always want to say thank you so much for your work. I had a chance to listen to the last of our episode, and I want you to know every time I come on the air or step in front of a group, I really think I really see myself as teaching the stars. Because in your local community, you're a voice of hope, you're a voice of healing, and this is a difficult role to be in. So we'll start right off today by saying thank you for your work. We appreciate you. You mean a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I just came off the road with the wonderful St. Louis EFT community. Shout out to them and the great board and people that are there. And I want to say specifically thank you to those people who are EFT community leaders and board members and volunteers in so many capacities to watch your care for humanity, that you're willing to help put on an event where you probably won't get paid for more times than not, to help other therapists learn so they can help clients, shows the selflessness that I can really appreciate and that really moves me to be a better human being. And also shout out to the Boston community or Massachusetts EFT. I just got to do a specialty training with them and to see some senior EFTers who are committed to lifelong learning, that they've been doing this model maybe 10 to 12 years, but they're still constantly refining their practice. Really speaks about their character. So thankful for that.
I want to extend that thank you if I can.
Mm-hmm.
If you're involved in a local community at all, if you're leading the community, if you're on their board, if you're a therapist who shows up and takes out the trash or does name tags, I want to say thank you. You are changing the world, and that's not easy. That's where I started off in EFT. I mean, my first role was I'm going to take a week off of work and I'm going to drive to the airport to go get a trainer and stay up all night taking care of them, taking them to dinner. You know, and I remember going, what am I doing? What am I doing with I'm making no money. I'm a professional too. It can be humiliating at nobody's fault. I didn't know that I was changing the world, because
right.
now you see it 15 years later. And, you know, Susie's over there in the corner killing it in a great way. And so if I wasn't taking out the trash and making name tags, this wouldn't have been happening. So all of you who are out there doing this work, volunteering your time, you're making a huge difference. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So the topic for today, we're back in even as I was listening to the podcast this morning coming in, a little bit of a reframe. We're calling this the resistant client, but I think we're really working with the client's resistance, right? So we're not trying to label the clients or diagnose them as something difficult, but we are trying to give a frame of, we want to equip you to work when the clients are in their resistance. And so today we're going to be talking about attachment dilemmas.
Yeah, so it's an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah.
So it's a flashback to episode 8. If you'd like to hear another round of discussion, this is on several podcasts. We Heart Therapy has one with me years ago. The Couples Therapist Couch.
Yeah, shout out Shane Burkle.
Shane
for real.
Burkle. Great
He's been
dude.
really holding it down in this couples field for a while, exposing us to so many different thinkers, thoughts and leaders and topics. So thank you, Shane. Appreciate you.
Yeah, wonderful guy. So we did this topic with him as well. Probably 3 or 4 years back. I remember I was in the hallway in a training in Kansas City when I did the attachment dilemma with him.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what I was doing. Anyway, so in some ways this is old, but we're going to renew it and talk about it in a little different way here.
Right.
So James, I want to jump in with you because this is your topic. I mean, it's an idea that a lot of people have had, but you put it in order here. So talk to us about how big this is for you, why it's big, how you use the attachment dilemma, how you see that as behind what therapists would experience as resistant.
This is strange. So I think of it as a behavioral experiential frame around the place where they get stuck and where their resistance is really difficult. And what the attachment dilemma does, I do think it is a clear portrayal of the moment. And it's like, this is where Sue's reflection, it's like, I'm going to show you, and we're going to look at this together, what happens to you in this place and why you don't have a good move and the good reasons why you're digging in here and not moving. Because I appreciate that Ryan said us again on the episode. When we say this, it's not just the clients being difficult. We're literally talking to clients like almost in a way, when I was in the military, we used to work with bomb dogs. And when the bomb dog would smell a bomb, it sits down and it's not going to move until the handler addresses the issue. And that's what I think is happening to our client. They're like, nope, something could blow up here. I'm sitting down and I'm not moving from this place until you address the threat because I got to protect everybody.
That's a great metaphor.
Yeah, I didn't think of it till literally right now. I'm in Saudi Arabia seeing every time I would watch the bomb dog, I'm like, please tell me, don't sit down, don't sit down, don't sit down. Because if he sits down, that means we have a rough moment ahead of us here, right? And so that's what our clients, so this attachment dilemma, what we're saying is, let me define it first.
Well, that's such a great metaphor, James. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
I've not thought of it that way.
Yeah.
And I've not been in Iraq like you have.
Yeah.
What should we call you? Lieutenant?
Yeah, you can call Lieutenant Hawkins. I'm sorry, I just went to Forrest Gump and said Lieutenant Dan. Sorry.
We just went country right there. We are in Arkansas. So thank you for your service, by the way.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. I've only seen this on movies. So when that dog sits down, it means business.
That's right.
They're trained.
The whole demeanor around changes because now we got to get EOD involved. We got to secure the perimeter. Medics are on standby.
Boy, if you could give that to therapists, because when that dog sits down, you still can't see it. You still can't actually see the threat.
That's right.
But when that sits down, we stop everything else we're doing.
Everything stops.
Yeah, we ain't gonna keep going.
Whoever the driver was in the vehicle, they're snatched out. They are detained until otherwise notified. Everything goes on hyper alert.
So look at the military, how much they're trusting the model, trusting the process. When that dog sits down, there's something there that we can't see. So now we're going to try to find the best process to safely access what it is.
That's right.
Don't keep running over it.
That's right.
And that's where, as therapists, sometimes we get so focused on where we want clients to go that we've inadvertently created the stuckness. That's such a great metaphor. I didn't want to let it fly by.
Good catch there, Ryan. So as therapists, if we hit the client's resistance, What we need to do is we need to be like that bomb dog and say, I'm sitting down here. We're going to check it out. What brought this resistance on? What's the nature of it? And how do we help get that kind of like, in a way, how do we safely begin to pull that kind of defensive posture out of the driver's seat and say, hey, can I detain you for a moment?
Yeah.
And so, go ahead.
I'm just last one. You know me in a metaphor. I did. It's only TV and movies for me. So if you're a real military person, you might be rolling your eyes at my knowledge. But I did watch a lot of them growing up. Mm-hmm. My dad was a Vietnam vet. Mm-hmm. Whole long story with his life, which has affected my life in many ways. So he and I would, in the 80s, would watch my favorite TV show of all time, called Tour of Duty. Yeah. And you got to know this platoon of like 7 or 8 people, and you followed them through their, it's just a TV show, but a lot of what they would do would come across these bombs. Mm-hmm. They didn't have dogs in this show, but I can imagine. Mm-hmm. But the bombs are not all the same.
That's right.
Some bombs can be taken care of. They would even use a pin to push in sometimes, which would restrict it. And these really experienced soldiers, it was a master sergeant, and he could identify, this one is this is a tripwire. This one we're going to have to get away from, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're trying to help you with this podcast, really. It's like, okay, this is the type of bomb. This is how it's loaded. Here's how we got to find a way to work with this one. So I just think that's a great metaphor.
All right. Well, now that you got the metaphor, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to define attachment dilemma and kind of give you some examples of what an attachment dilemma could sound like with a really resistant client. It's an honor for Ryan and I to get to come to you on these airwaves, to meet you where you are with you and your clients who are pushing the leading edge in your clinical work. And we're thankful for this opportunity and for the work that you do. And we want to invite you that if you believe in the concepts of this podcast and you find them helpful, as we do, we just invite you to be able to invest and to help keep this mission and this project going. You can support us by going on Venmo and looking for @Left Podcast. That's @LEFT PODCAST Left Podcast. And you can show your support. Once again, if you yourself are in a hard position or you serve maybe less resource population and therefore it affects your fees, please don't worry about giving. Just continue to enjoy. But if you can, we invite you to help support this mission and keep it going. Thank you so much.
Yeah, a little bit of background here. If maybe this is episode you haven't heard about attachment dilemmas. So just real quickly, for me, in my developmental process as a trainer, it's one thing to be able to learn EFT, then it's able to do EFT. Then becoming a trainer was a whole different game because you had to learn how to do demonstration EFT with someone you've never met before in front of, 75 people. Sometimes they're supportive, sometimes they're criticizing what you're doing. There's a lot going on. And so early on, especially my first 30 or 40 lives, I would actually jot down 7 or 8 things on the side of my legal pad, just to like help myself if I get stuck. Things like catastrophic fear, things like, I don't know, whatever it was. Make sure I have a vivid trigger, and I don't do that anymore. But when I would do that, my last one, I would always put ATTDILL, at deal, which was attachment dilemma, meaning if everything else falls apart, find a way to lean into this. And I want to credit Becca Jorgensen because I stole this as an idea. We're doing it a little bit different than maybe she would say. I don't know. I haven't really asked her, honestly. But, she was on her one of her training videos. She stops, she looks at the camera, and she says, your clients will likely not move until they get the sense that you see their dilemma. And that sent me on a journey here of trying to develop processes here congruent with EFT, like Sue made from the start, to handle these situations. Last story, when I was a new trainer hanging out, 2017, around that area, and I'm hanging out with the trainers who are really experienced. I'm trying to pass the live, as trainers say internally, which then was get a live in front of a group good enough that Sue would pass it. Mm-hmm. And so I would ask them, and to a person, they would look at me with a big, deep breath, and they would say, be with people. Be with them. right? Which is wonderful advice. It's also wonderfully vague. So I'm like, the heck does that mean? You know, that could mean so many different things. But this is the ultimate manifestation of being with people when they're at their worst.
There we go.
This attachment dilemma. So, James, you said something last podcast, or maybe it was two back, that I think might fit here. I want to kind of kick it to you, though. You said, you know, the two parts that we work with a lot in EFT are these longings for connection, and then these longings to survive, which we call protection.
Yeah.
Do you think that fits with this topic?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Because what we are showing is part of their squatting down is because they are stuck. Like moving forward doesn't feel like an option, but nor do they really want to move back. So they're saying like, I'm staying right here. And what the attachment dilemma does is saying, I see where you are and I see why it's hard to move. I know that there's a part of you. Now I'm going to put it in because the attachment dilemma is saying the person is stuck between the natural motivation of attachment to move them to seek out some form of comfort. And that's what we long for. What we're longing for is attachment as a distress management system says you could find relief if you can go reconnect with your person or your tribe in a way, right? And so people want to do that, but also now, because of things that have happened in whatever in their life, that doesn't feel so safe. So then they've developed these other protective strategies to get some of the proximity, but also to mitigate the risk of possibly being rejected or abandoned. And so what they're stuck in is there's this longing here and you kind of want to move towards it. But when you've tried, what's happened? And what's the fear there if you try? And so then you do this because you do this. Like maybe if it's a withdrawal, I might say like, so then you say nothing. You find a way to kind of get some space. But when you try and get space, what happens for you there? What is that place like? Well, it sucks. Things get worse. I'm misunderstood. Right. But also if you try and take a risk and speak up for yourself or to kind of talk about what's happening for you, what's the risk there? Well, it'll still make things worse. And I won't be able to explain it well enough. And I won't have enough bandwidth to stay in the conversation. And then I'm just going to fail. Whew. So, wow. So let me make sure I really, really slow this down. You have no good move here. If you move towards what your heart's hoping for, this could go horribly bad. And so what the wisdom of your body is, let me try something else. So then you try and get a little space, not engage with it, not bring it up. But then what happens? You're left alone and things still get worse. So gosh, you can't reach for what you hope for. And then you also can't even succeed in being able to kind of protect your heart in this place or the relationship. Whew, you are really stuck. And even as I say that to you right here, right now, I'm curious, what is that stuck place like right here, right now, as we even look at that place? And that would be my example, like with a withdrawal.
Beautiful. Another metaphor comes to mind. Is that going to take you off track?
No.
Okay. I'll tell you one of the things I like least in life is when I'm having technology problems. You've noticed that.
Yes.
With my computer. And I'm going to tell you what really makes me mad. And I'm surrounded by great people.
Yeah.
Dr. Chad Imhoff.
Yeah.
Great EFT supervisor. Does incredible work. Great human. He's also really sharp.
Yes.
He can fix anything. And so, but he works on PC systems and I work on Apple. And I'm going to play this up just to make the point, but it is somewhat true. I'll have something going on with my computer and I'm like, it doesn't work. Right. And on a bad day, he instantly assumes, well, Ryan's doing it wrong because he's not very good at tech. Which I kind of assume that too, right? So, and our clients do that. So there's that shame response. Maybe it is me. And so I'm like, hang on, I've got to get this. And he's like, look, click the three dots. It'll drop down. We got to hit this. And I click the three dots and it doesn't come up. And he's like, you got to do this. It works fine on my end, right? And it's like, let's do this. Let's Google it. And then finally, he walks down there and he goes, oh. Well, that doesn't work, does it? Like, no. Then he's like, well, I'm not an Apple guy or something like that. But my point is that's got to be somewhat similar to what our clients are going through times 10. Because at the end of the day, a computer doesn't really matter, right? So, but I'm not seeing what they're looking at. And that's the problem.
Yeah, I like that.
And they know I'm not seeing what they're looking at. So what they're looking at does not give a pathway forward. And so in this metaphor, like the therapist is like Chad, who knows this process, has some agenda, but I'm not seeing what they're looking at. And if I'm in a bad place and I don't feel really understood by you, I really can't move. I'm going to paralyze.
That's right. And I've been in that situation. I'm laughing over here because I've been in that situation with Ryan too. And I'm like, I know what the Apple screen is supposed to look like according to my computer. Then I've sat down at Ryan's computer. I'm like, oh, this is not you, Ryan. I don't have any idea what your screen is showing you right now. And you're right. So I like that you call it like, and we need to show them. And then Ryan, I want to catch that too with a resistant client. Probably, I don't know if I want to say it this way. You can fix it for me, Ryan. But like one of the worst things you can do is just keep like, just do this, and you keep doing that, and that really just amplifies their resistance. So with this attachment dilemma, it's almost pulling the pressure off of them some way. It's like, you know what, you ain't got to do nothing. I'm gonna show you your own experience and where you get stuck. So I see when you do this, what is it like? And it is pulling the pressure off now. It's like, I'm not asking you to do nothing except look at your own world and your experience. And you're going to look at it from the vantage point I'm showing you. It's, you have no good move. You get stuck. And this is where your body locks down. But even this is when you could push it even further. And even when you lock down, and if you stay in this place and you don't move from here, what does life look like for you and for your partner? I had to do this one just in St. Louis. It was stage 2, trying to do withdrawal re-engagement. And Ryan, he sat down. And he made me have to do so many different things. And I recognized I'm trying to push him to do something. Nope, no more pushing. Let me just say like, hey, nice. I see what you're doing. And I get the good reasons why. Yeah. Because if you try this, here's what could happen. And if you don't do this, then you go to this move. But when you do this move, I also see what happens to you. You have no good move. And what is it like here for you? And then we just started staying in that place and working. And eventually what I had to do was go to his younger view of self. Okay. So anyway.
So I just want to highlight one thing James did there as a pro. Mm-hmm. He said to himself, no more pushing.
That's right.
Okay, so this is what we got to do. When you come up on this resistance, this 78 harm, 7 or 8 times, as we've been defining this resistant client series, none of this, the best work is not possible if you don't slow down.
Oh.
You have to change your speed. Even EFT speed, which is normally slow, is still too fast.
That's good.
So once you recognize I'm up against a rock in a hard place or an immovable object, whatever those cliches are, you have to slow down.
Seriously, I had to hit the chimes on that one. Out of the whole series, that's kind of probably where it's so simple, but it's going to be one of your most important nuggets. Yeah. Before you do anything else, I would encourage any of the stuff Ryan are going to teach you is slow yourself now. Yeah. Seriously. Because even I found myself getting irritated, but when I slowed down, I was able to find compassion for him and shift out, like going back to, I was able to shift out of my reactive state back into a state of compassion to be with the client.
Yeah. 2 quick stories. 2012, George is at my mom's house for some reason. We're watching one of my EFT videos. Okay, I'm becoming a supervisor then, I think, or something.
Oh, wow, back in the day.
Back in the day. It was snowing outside. I remember that. That's about all I remember. Anyway, I make a mistake on a clip, okay? I had I had an entry point of live emotion, and I missed it. I went to a second emotion. I ended up enacting the word condemned. I do remember that. And that's a little bit of a mistake. That's not really an emotion. That's more of a messaging. And it ended up working. And it went beautifully. And George said, well, you got lucky. and he said, a lot of times that's going to get blocked because that's going to come across more like blame. And so we unpacked what happened in that moment. And then he said something really beautiful, which was so helpful. He goes, look, I wasn't in that room. I wasn't seeing what you're seeing. I have no doubt that you had a really good reason to go left instead of right there. What I'm going to ask you to do, Ryan, is to get curious. I could feel my body relax. This is what our clients desperately needs to hear from us in some form or another. Flipping metaphors here. My apple won't work, right? The more I get the sense that things are moving without me, that I'm pressed, now my body starts to panic. And now I'm doubling down on this stuck feeling. So if Chad could say to me, hey, all right, hang on, we're going to stop. I'm coming to your office. We're going to work on this together. I have no doubt that what you're seeing is stuck. You're not crazy here. We're going to do this together and unpack what it is I'm seeing, even repetitively. What you would have is a whole new nervous system to work with. I may or may not have the answers, but now you have a client. Like we are in a space for the possibility of a new experience.
Wow, man. Thank you. I just want to give George a shout out. Like, he's such an influence on Ryan and I. He's a guest contributor. We got to get him back on here, but just really appreciate his ability to see those moments and recognize that. What I want to go to for a moment, I want to go back to the attachment dilemma and show fully how I would do it. Because for me, what I usually do is if they're really resistant, I go through the 3 gears. I don't know if we've ever talked about them there, but it's like I start off with like a conversational, then it's a little bit more serious, and then my last gear, I really slow my voice down. Because also what I'm doing with the resistance, I'm trying to bring their nervous system down out of that red state back down to a green state. You going to say something?
No, I love it. That's what I want to do too. In fact, I wouldn't mind we're doing one each.
I like that.
Can we take a half a step back?
Yep, sure.
Something that you're better at than me.
What's that?
That I think is important here is there's a self of the therapist piece to this. To be able to do this well, you know, what you did in St. Louis when you said to yourself, no more pushing. I'm just going to stay here. Like, that's not easy to do.
No.
Because we got to really be okay with that.
Yeah.
We got to be willing to stay here way longer than you normally would. And you correct me if I'm getting this wrong. But for me, let me just speak for Ryan here. I've got to engage, self of the therapist wise, I've got to engage and stay with what's going to feel like a failure. I've got to stay with hopelessness. And I've got to be patient.
Yes.
None of those 3 are my favorite things.
No.
And I don't think I'm the only one.
No.
And if I can't tolerate those 3 things, I'm going to go do something else without a client.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get more resistance.
Yes.
Am I on track there?
I think so. Yeah, it exactly is right. Because it's like I'm willing to look at the darkness and I'm not afraid that it will overtake me. It's okay for us. And by the way, it's not even overtake you. I think what we end up, I mean, to speak for James, I want to rescue my clients from their hopelessness, which actually in therapy is a date. If I rescue you from it without exploring it or helping you make new moves in it, I've done you a disservice. So that I think you're on track, Ryan.
Yeah, and the best way to get someone out of hopelessness isn't to give them a new direction.
That's right.
It's to clarify the good reasons they have to be hopeless. I remember as a young clinician being taught to validate suicidal ideation. How hard that is at first. Now it's a no-brainer. I just did it yesterday. And it's a beautiful thing to say, I see how you got there. It makes sense that this sucks so bad. You want the pain to end.
Yeah.
You know, and watching that big, deep breath.
That's it.
Because now I've joined them in suicidal ideation, which ironically makes it less likely that they would.
Yep.
Or I can try to talk them out of it, which then their brain just doubles down. Because obviously if I'm talking you out of the pain, I don't see the pain very well.
That's right.
So
exactly.
I just want to say that because this is personal. You know, your body is going to activate when you're up against this level of stuckness.
There we go. So I'll do one round and then you do a round.
Yeah, you want to do pursuers or withdrawers?
I'll go. Which one do you like the most?
Okay.
Okay, I'll go pursuer this time.
You're going to do. I'm the pursuer, and you're going to do the therapist.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm a really stuck pursuer.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You are. So hold on, Ryan. You're letting me see something that's really important. So can I show you what I think I'm seeing? Because now I'm also seeing you really are trying your best, but you're kind of in a dilemma because your best is kind of getting split 2 ways. Like there's a part of Ryan that really wants things to be different with Ann. You really want her to be able to engage with you and to connect with you. And that's your first motivation when you go into it. But then also, you know, like if I come in too hot or too much, then that's just going to push her away. So then Ryan tries to measure his words. He tries to be quiet. He tries to wait to see if she'll see it first so he doesn't have to be the one to bring it up. But what is it like when what you're hoping for, you can't move towards it, Ryan? What is it like for you?
It's really hard.
Oof.
Really stuck.
But then also, when you try to protect him, Ryan tries to kind of measure and hold it in and hope Ann will see it and kind of wait. What is that place like?
Yeah. That ain't happening.
So Ryan, I'm really beginning to see this now. Hold on a second. That if I go for what I want, or if I try and go for it and it can't happen, that sucks. And then even if I just sit there and wait, look at how you even said it, Ryan. It ain't gonna happen. Whew. Now that feels like that hits another level. So even when it sucks and it ain't gonna happen, Ryan, what is that even like?
It's hard to have hope.
Oh, so Ryan, now this is really setting in for me. This is a hopeless place. And even in that hopeless place for Ryan, he can't talk about that because it probably won't go well. And then Ryan just has to once again, but tell me if I'm seeing this right, Ryan. But if I speak up, that ain't gonna work either. Wait, I'm messing it up. I'm sorry. But if you speak up in that place, what happens, Ryan?
Makes it worse.
So wait, hold on.
They go away.
So even in the hopeless place, if Ryan tries to speak up to try and get his partner to hear him, it usually doesn't go well, and that sucks.
Yeah.
But if Ryan says nothing happens, even in the hopeless place. Whew. Whew. No wonder you don't want to make a move. No wonder why your nervous system wants to lock down. If all my best efforts just keep getting twisted by the cycle, I'd probably want to just sit down here and not move either. So thank you for letting me see that, Ryan. Am I getting close?
Yes.
To what it's like for you?
Yep. Feels good.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah. Feels great. You know, and I'm just putting myself in the role of a client right there, and it's a lot of light on me, right? Which I have mixed feelings about.
Yeah.
And yet it feels so good that you're not trying to take me somewhere else, because I'm really tied up over here, right? I got a leg, chained to one wall, and another leg chained to the ceiling. Oof. My left arm is tied over here. My right arm's tied over here. Gosh. And that's what cycles do to people.
Yeah.
And so for me to say, yeah, get up and run, because that's what, research shows works. Deadly. Right? So what you did was you just sorted through each one of the chains. I see where you're stuck. I see where you're stuck. I see where you're stuck. And slowing this down gives me an opportunity for me to see it without all this pressure to do something different.
That's right.
Because I have tons of pressure on me to do something different, and all our clients do, but especially people who are in this level of resistant stuckness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
I want my withdrawal massage this morning.
All right. So James, just kind of talk to me real quickly about what goes on, what you try to do when things aren't good with Nicola.
Well, I try and kind of see if I can shift us out into a positive place. Maybe I point her to the exceptions. Like if she's calling out a problem, I'm like, but yesterday I did this and we did this a month ago and we talked about this.
Right. Yeah. So you're trying to shift us out of here.
Yeah.
Because why would we want to go more towards bad things? That makes good sense to me. I love that about you, James. You're an optimist. You're a problem solver. You take care of business. You're an officer, retired officer, an ambulance driver. I mean, this is what you do well.
That's right.
Right. But in this cycle, what I think I'm starting to get, James, and I want to walk around this several times, and I want you to help me, is you actually don't have a good move. Okay? Because when Nicola's upset and you say something, it actually makes it worse. Right? You point out an exception, and all that does is irritate her. And all you get is a more angry partner. Right? And that's just one piece. Because then if you don't say something, now the wrath really intenses. So I want to just stay here, because James, I need you to hear that I hear and I see what this cycle does to both of you. But for right now, I'm just talking to you. James, you don't have a good move. When you read the book and you engage and share your feelings, it actually has this activating effect. You're doing what you're told to do, but somehow there's some kind of mystery answer that everybody knows but me. And when I try something, it just like throws gas on the fire. So you do what anybody does, which is to stop throwing gas on the fire. You go away, not to hurt her, but to keep this thing from accelerating. And yet at that point, it makes it worse. So hang on a minute. I need you to hear me fully. You don't have a good move. The more you say, the worse it gets. When you take the words out of your mouth, now not only does it make it worse, now you get told you're this heartless, uncaring, you're not even committed, You're not much of a man, are you? Which, of course, that might be messages from the cycle. But I want you to know one last time, James, when the cycle's going, there is not a move that you need to do. There's nothing here that we're working on, doing homework. You don't have a good move. You say something, everything gets worse. You don't say something, distance. You get told you're not even that committed. What kind of parent are you? What kind of heartless human are you? Right? And then in that place, it even gets dark on you. Because you start to feel really bad about yourself. James, you don't have a good move right here. So what's it like to hear me say all that?
Well, I normally don't give myself that much time I just try and survive it. But it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's frustrating.
Yeah, of course.
Hopeless. Yeah.
So I'm just curious as I unpack that. Am I close to the experience?
Oh, very close. Especially that image when you talked about if I talk, it just throws gasoline on the fire.
Okay.
But then if I don't talk, it feels like somehow gasoline still goes on the fire. So I don't know how to stop this thing from the fire from raging and burning up my relationship.
Yeah. You can't. It's something we all have to do together. We have to get this cycle out of the room. As long as the cycle is dictating the shots, there is no move that works, guys. That's why you're here. You are pretty smart people with a lot of love for each other. But as long as the cycle is dictating your moves, there is no move. What's key is I need all three of us to see that. Because from that place, we have a chance to slow this down and not let our hearts be completely taken away.
Wow, that was good. The image that hit me at the end, it felt like you put me in the image allowed me to go into the dark cave of probably where I'm living as a withdrawal. My body wants to stay out of that, but you like took me down into the cave. But then it's like you were our Indiana Jones in a way, right? And you had a torch, and you like, James, I see you. I see what you're trying to do. I see what this is like. And like, even while we're in the cave still, you started bringing hope to the cave. Like, y'all are brilliant people. You're smart. You're doing your best. It just so sucks that the cycle keeps pushing you into this place.
Yeah.
That felt really good.
Yeah. Three things that come to mind for me right there. One, before I do the three, is I've never been with a real client who doesn't have a tear in their eye at the end of that. And so that's my next move is like, can you tell me what the tear is saying right now? Right. So we go into I would try to activate the live emotion. But to get there, three things come to mind. Glad we did that. We should do it more often. This is key for the partner to hear. Because the partner, as a rule, always thinks if James would just do X, Y, and Z, we'd be fine. And that's not true. Cycles are just not that simple. Right. So it's so key for Nicola in your instance to hear me going over and over and over this. It can calm her coaching instincts if I'm working with the withdrawer. So it's very key for the partner to hear this. And I'm okay if it upsets her too. I'm going to finish what I'm doing, and then I'll go with whatever dysregulation may be there when I get there. So a lot of therapists will cut that short, trying to protect the partner and end up slicing their own throat, so to speak, with the process. The second piece is I also have to resist my theories and philosophies. Things like, well, if you just validate her more, if you got to share your heart, you got to open up to someone who's chained down in a cave. So we have to set aside all this beautiful education and knowledge and, the three things Sue said and Gottman said, because when someone is stuck like this and resistant like this, it's going to be counterproductive. And then the last one, I think this is the hardest one, is you have to trust a repetition. So I only did 3 with you for the sake of a podcast, but I prefer to do it 5 or 6 times. Yeah. My favorite phrase, James, and you can't see this, but when I say James, I'm trying to catch his eye contact, which means I don't want you to think about anything else for a minute. And I'm saying, James, you don't have a good move. You go left, bad stuff happens. You go right, bad stuff happens. Hold on. James, you don't have a good move. Wow. So I got to believe that, and I got to trust the repetition. People who are in a resistant, stuck place, their nervous systems can't hear the first 3 or 4 passes.
Wow.
You stay there.
I like that, Ryan. And good job swinging for the fence. Or I shouldn't, but like I'm not, Ryan's the baseball guy. But like I remember when I tried to play baseball, I was always so afraid of looking silly. I would like kind of choke up my swing. So it's like I didn't want to fully put my whole body momentum in. And the fact on that attachment dilemma, like I could feel it. Like Ryan was like, I'm going to fully highlight the picture. He wasn't halfway like, so James, I kind of think like this is I wonder if it's like, no, James, you don't have a good move. And you even in your imagery, you kept heightening the moment to make my nervous system catch it. I guess why I'm highlighting that is I've noticed that like, y'all, you got to be willing to fully lean into these moments. I'm not saying be fake or anything, but like, lean into it, really explore. And you also helped me because I use my clients' names a lot. And I didn't realize that's probably a function is because every time you would say my name, it would get my attention back. I like that. That was good.
So common dilemma for pursuers.
Yeah.
If they try, they get told that they're a monster and they're too much, right? Or just, you need to be comfortable in your own skin, right? And if they go away hoping to be chased,
no one's coming.
Their worst fear, which is silence. So run that over and over and over with a really stuck pursuer and watch what happens.
Yeah, I call it the push-pull cycle.
Yeah. And for the withdrawer, if they say something, they get corrected and it makes it worse.
Yeah.
If they don't say something, they get accused of not caring, not being committed, or something's wrong with them. They get diagnosed. Run that over and over and over. My last thing I want to say is, at this level of stuckness, and you've kind of listed it as your go-to move when nothing else works, and it's mine as well. So there's two people who are like, this is the thing, if you're absolutely up against the wall. This intervention has 1 point and 1 point only. So you got to set aside all your other objectives.
Oh, yeah.
My goal is for your nervous system to see that my nervous system sees that you are stuck. Like that's it. If I'm trying to do other stuff, I don't quite have you. This is a 1 point objective. Then I've got to trust that my body will know what to do, what happens next. Because if I'm trying to get ahead of what we're going to do next, or we're going to do an enactment, I don't ever get this objective done.
Correct. Man, Ryan, thanks. This is a good one. I hope it helps you out in so many different areas and different ways, but it's definitely a skill to practice. You've heard me and Ryan demonstrate it. Keep rewinding back to that part and practice finding your words and your rhythm with it. And your imagery in the midst of it. And usually right on the backside of this, for me, is when I come out of it, we're going to some type of enactment because some juice is there and we're going to use it. Y'all, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Thank you for letting us push your leading edge. That way you can help push the leading edge of other people so they can have success and vulnerability. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for listening. We hope this experience helps you push the leading edge in your work to help people connect with themselves and with each other. Please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a 5-star review. You can contact us at pushtheleadingedge@gmail.com, and you can follow us on our Facebook page at Push the Leading Edge. You can follow Ryan on Facebook at Ryan Rana Professional Training and on his website, ryanrenatraining.com. You can follow James on Facebook and Instagram at DocHawkLPC. You can also check out his website, DocHawkLPC.com.